Wasteland survivors. I'm Dean. Thanks for stopping in for our very first video on the Fallout 76 camp system tips and tricks for the beginner, part 1. In today's video, we'll see how to place the camp down and how to move the camp workbench around after placing it in the area that you want to build in. We'll also take a look at all the objects that are available to us from the very first or beginning part of the game. You know, before we found any plans. We'll also talk a little bit about the stash box and how that works. So, let's get this video started. Let's go ahead and build real quick. Now, to start off with, when we build our camp, we can place it down pretty much anywhere. Now there's a few places you cannot build your camp. Close to other pre-existing structures or uneven environments. There's a few things. Also, if you're in an environment that's causing damage to you, like the steam vents or radiation or something, you could not place your camp down in that area either. Now once we place the camp down, we can actually go into build mode. Now as we saw from when we placed the camp down, it actually has a border around us now from the center, or that camp is the center of this circle. But if we hit B, which is to switch to modify, we can actually move our camp and move it completely out of the way. You can even place it inside of your build once you've built your settlement if you want to do that. So we can move it out of the way, and as you can see, it's right up against the build border right now. Now, what I'd like to do real quick is talk about a couple of things here. Let's talk about our categories. First of all, we've got recent. We've got stored. Stored is where if you made an item and then you store it, this is where it'll go. We can also make blueprints, and we'll go over those three categories a little bit later. The first thing that we've got is some floors. Now, if you notice in the left-hand column, we have actually several to choose from. But some of them have a circle with a line through it. Can be snapped to needs foundations. Okay, so the very first thing we can do is actually build a foundation, and we have a couple of different ones. And so let's go ahead, let's build this foundation. This one's cool. Let's build one foundation. Now that we have a foundation down, we actually have the option to add other floors in. Also, if you notice, this floor has a little arrow on the right hand side of the box. That means there's different variances of that floor. So each category has a subcategory if you see an arrow on it. Here is the half floor, and you can see a couple of different variances for it. Here's the quarter floor, and we got a couple for that. And these floors do not have a category. Okay, now the next thing will be walls. Now, because we have built a foundation, we have quite a few walls available to us right now. Let's scroll down through them real quick. We've got some wooden ones, then we have some that are locked. It says, cannot place this item, the section is floating. Find plans to build this object. So anything that is locked, you've got to find the plans for it. We've got some red barn walls. We had like kind of a metal type wall, some brick walls, like a wall like looks like the barn section, and we got more walls that look like the barn section here. We've got the roll-up door that's in the barn. Now, when I say barn section, I'm referring to Fallout 4. We've also got a bunch more brick type and metal type structures. Plus we have a few different kinds of doors. Some of them automatically come with light switches. So let's go ahead and put up a wall. Alright. Now the next thing is roofs. Because we have built a floor, this is the thing that we all have to remember, ladies and gentlemen. We have to build from the ground up, mostly. Without a floor, we can't put up a wall. Without a wall, we cannot put up a ceiling or a roof. So, unlike in Fallout 4, where you can put some things up, take them out, and then you have a roof floating or a wall floating or set it out, we cannot do that in 76. So let's go ahead and choose a roof, and I think we'll go with this style, just for now. And once again, if you see any arrows, that means there's variances in that category. So we have a couple there, a couple of different ones there, and there as well. Alright, now we can go to the stairs. With the stairs, they'll either need to be snapped to the top of the floor, or if your structure's high enough, you can snap it to the top of the stair. Say, for instance, this one here, we might be able to get that to snap. Yes, we can. So we could have some stairs going up to our floor. Let's see if the brick one will snap. Yes, it will. Now, just because it turns green and it says you can snap, if you try to, it may say colliding with another pre-existing object, or colliding with a pre-existing object. That means you're too far in the ground, or you're colliding with a tree or rock or something like that that's in your build, or in your build area. Alright, let's see, did we have any? Oh, let's talk about these real quick. Now, these will only snap to floors or foundations that you have down. They won't snap or set down on the ground anywhere. So this is a great way to start the second story of your build if you're wanting to do that. And there's a couple of different types. Now, what the differences are exactly... Oh, it looks like the ladder is on one side. As you can see, the ladder is going to the right on this one. Ladder is going to the left on this one. Alright, let's take a look at the doors. We've only got a couple of doors to go with. One of them is locked. So we'd need to find plans to build that. You would need a door frame on to snap the door to it. Okay, let's go to the crafting. In the crafting section, this is pretty much where all the workbenches and everything are at. In the cooking station, we have the regular sit-down campfire. We have this one that is a cooking pot. We also have the spick, but we have to find the plans for that. And we also have a stove, which we'll need to find the plans for that as well. Right off the bat, we can build an armor workbench. We can also build a weapons workbench. But the Tinker's workbench, the chem station, and the power armor station will all require plans to create and build. Okay, and the turrets and traps, we've actually got a couple of different ones. Now, we are out of circuitry, or we don't have any circuitry, so we could not build this particular gun turret until we find some circuitry. Until you find plans for these others, like this one requires a plan, and then it also requires level 2 home defense. So, you will need to learn a job or be proficient in a job to build some of these. This one, level 3 home defense, level 1 science. This one here, same thing, level 2 science. This one, level 1 home defense, level 3 home defense. This one here, level home 1 defense, level home 1 defense, and so on. Now, we also have some other different types of defenses. Spiked board. These are bone chimes. We don't have any bones, so we can't build that right now. We've got some other floor type defenses, door mounted defenses, etc. And there's all kinds of things. We even got the flamethrower. And here we would need fireproof level 1 and home defense level 2 to build that. As well as the plans to build that object as well. Okay, and our defenses, We've got all kinds of different things. Fences, gated fences, there's our guard turrets, all kinds of things that would count towards our defense. Also, another cool thing is the artillery. How that's going to work, I really don't know. And Fallout 4, it requires a settler working it or assigned to it before you can actually use that, as well as having some artillery grenades that you throw out and it marks the spot where you want the artillery fired. So let's see, generators. We can actually right off the bat build this generator, which produces 3. This one says find plans to build this object, and along with all the rest of those. Power connectors, we have quite a few different ones. We've got, quite a few that we saw in Fallout 4. Here's our power connectors, and it does have an arrow on the side so you can scroll through the different power connectors for that. We've got switches, power pylons, etc. There are also even some conduits, and you can scroll through the conduits variants using the right or left D-pad to decide what conduits you want to place out and use. There's also a bunch more here. So we do have quite a few of the conduits that we have in Fallout 4 here in these 2 categories. We've got a terminal. We do have a couple of other things that we don't have in Fallout 4. This switch with 2 power pylons. This switch with a keypad. Not for sure, but I think you can make a combination, and the switch cannot be turned on unless the combination is known. And then laser tripwire and a few other things there as well. In our lights, we have quite a few of the same lights in Fallout 4, but we do have some new different ones. This particular light, it says it requires power, but it actually works without the power. We have this in one of our other settlement builds, and it does work without power. I don't know if it's a glitch, and that'll change when the real game comes out, but at this point in time it is working. And then we got quite a few other types of lighting things. We got our neon lights, we've got our neon signs, let's see, that one's the trash can, the disco ball, and so on. We got quite a bit there. Now in our food, everything is unlocked. Now it says find plans to build these, but I have actually found the actual produce, and with the produce I was able to actually create these plants. So I don't know if you actually really have to find the plans for this, but if you find a carrot, a corn, a blackberry, something like that in the open world, you should be able to build one of these in your camp, unless you let it spoil, and then you won't be able to. And we've got quite a few things here. Well, look right here. We did find a Tato plant. Now, it's saying that we can't build it because it says we need... Oh, we're missing fertilizer. That's why. If we had the fertilizer, we could actually build the Tato because we've already discovered a Tato plant. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It just goes to show if you have the particular produce and some fertilizer, you'll be able to put it into your settlement. With the water, we've got a couple of different things. They say to find the plans to build it, but this one I have on another character. I know I didn't find plans to build that, but we are able to build it. So I either did find the plans and read it and didn't realize it, or not. It might have been a level-oriented type object. I'm not for sure. I think I had to find the plans. I did find them. I just didn't see it or realize it. In resources, we will have a few different things. This one's a fertilizer producer. You'll need to find plans to build that as well. Same thing in all of our appliances, and there's all kinds of things here. Everything that you might see in Fallout 4. We've got different cookers, TVs, Different stoves, potbelly stove, that's kind of cool. Let's see, what else do we have? Looks like that's it for variances. Now beds, the only bed we're able to build right off the bat is a sleeping bag. But it's not too hard to find a metal bed. Matter of fact, the Overseer's camp, when you go there, there will be plans for a metal bed on the bench that's beside her camp. Same thing for chairs, all kinds of different chairs, and you'll need to find the plans to build them. Okay, stash box. We will need to build a stash box. Now, a stash box is linked to all of your workbenches. It's also linked to every workbench in the world as well. Now, we did build this one right here. We found the plans to build this one, and I thought this would be a great one to put up, to put extra things in so I didn't fill up my stash box. But once I put it out, it's exactly the same thing as the stash box. All the items that are in your stash box will be in that container as well, and it will still have the weight penalty of that. Now, they are saying that the stash box will be unlimited. You will be able to put as much in there as you want. They even linked a Twitter remark from Pete Hines saying he didn't know of no stash limitations, but we did fill our stash up the other night, 400 pounds, and it wouldn't let us put no more into it. So upon game launch, that may change. Floor decor is rugs and all kinds of other things there. Shelves, once again, shelves. We saw the magazine rack. Didn't think there were any magazines in 76, but apparently there are. We got a card that says a notification sound will go off if you're close to a magazine. Haven't found one yet, but there's apparently going to be magazines in 76. Now, I don't know if they're going to give you the 1 hour buff that a bobblehead gives you, but, you know, when we find a magazine, we'll see how that works. It may be a permanent stat like Fallout 4, or it may be just a temporary stat. We've got all kinds of tables, wall decor, which is all the different pictures, signs, etc. Mirrors, looks like, and miscellaneous structures. An outhouse, basketball, you can build some tents. We've got a couple of different tents. And we have a decon chamber as well. Requires 30 power to run that thing. I think it's only 1 power in Fallout 4 or something like that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much the inventory for the beginning part of playing 76. And as you level up and find plants and stuff, you'll be able to build more items. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a second stash box, because I want to show you guys and gals that it doesn't matter how many stash boxes you have, it still only has the same amount of resources that you can put into it. If you notice where it says my stash box at the bottom, 0 of 400 pounds. So even if you put all of your junk into that, okay, there we go, all of our junk is in there. It doesn't matter. The other stash box will have the same amount of scrap that is into it. Okay, I hear somebody running. Oh, there we go. Charging path. What's up, dude? Oh, look at him. He's got some cool stuff. Yeah, he's got a pretty cool little gas mask. Like it. Like it a lot. Now, another thing is, too, if a person is in your group and they use your stash box, it's actually their stash box. Has invited me to trade. Okay. Let's see what the gentleman wants to trade me. We can also look through his stuff to see what he's got. Let's see what he's got for weapons. Anti-scorched training pistol, combat, marksman hunting rifle. He's got all kinds of good stuff there. Right on, dude. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. That was a great thing to show. So when somebody trades with you, you can actually look through all of their inventory as well. Now, you can't take it. The only way you can get it is if they offer it to you. And they can make it for 0 caps or any amount of caps that they want to charge you for it. Now, I don't know if this gentleman is using my stash box or not. Not being in my party, I think he can still use the stash box. But it's his stash box that he's seeing, not mine. So all of my objects are not viewed, or he's not able to view all of the junk that's in there. And because of him staying there for a minute, I'm going to think he dropped a bunch of stuff off in his stash box. Now, since we've got 2 stash boxes out, we don't need them. In your build menu, they have 2 different settings that you can be in. This is the building setting, where we can build all the things that we want to build. If we press B, we go to another category of the build menu. From here, we can actually do stuff like blueprint, edit. Like edit, if we push edit, that means we can actually move the object around wherever we want to. And then press A again to put it down. You also have the option to store or scrap. Now when you press X, it will tell you A to scrap, B or X to store, B to cancel. Press X again and it will store it in your here, let's go look. It will store it in your stored menu. And we can see it, it's right there. Okay, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. A basic overview of how the C.A.M.P system works and a beginning overview on the basics of the stash box. Now, please keep this in mind. These clips were created from our live streams of the beta on Xbox One. Some of these things may change on game launch day or shortly thereafter. But as time goes on, we will create more in-depth videos on how to build in our C.A.M.P, how to blueprint and move your C.A.M.P from one location to another. So, thank you all for stopping in for our first video on the Fallout 76 C.A.M.P system tips and tricks for beginners part 1. I look forward to seeing you all on the next video and or stream. And just like always, everybody, please, until next time, stay safe and peace.